The Global Troop Resource, trying to put 1,000 skills into every troop's backpack.
Welcome back to the Photography Merit Badge. Today's topics are leading lines, angle of view, and framing. Then we'll see a little bit of post-production work of adding fill light, contrast, and cropping. Lastly, we're going to take a look at some of your fellow scouts' photos and talk about them just a little bit before we end our last session. I'm Coach Scott. Let's jump right in where we left off last time.
So now we're going to talk about leading lines. And leading lines are wonderful. I love leading lines. I often try and take pictures with leading lines in them. But they basically are lines in an image that will lead your eye from one point in the photo to another point in the photo. And these lines can be anything. So who here can tell me what one of the leading lines is in this photo?
Train tracks.
Train tracks. Good, Owen. We've got more.
Like the towers back there?
Yes, absolutely right, Dylan. One more set of leading lines here.
Could the trees? No, not the trees.
The grass, like how the grass along.
That is correct. So we've got a couple of leading lines here. One is the track, and it leads you right out of the picture, and it's so compelling that you're wondering what the heck happened here, because that's not the way railroad tracks are supposed to look. Two, you've got these leading lines of these towers moving down, and they actually frame this portion of the track, which means that your eye is now directed to this location. And then you've also got this line of grass right along the side of the railroad. It also leads you all the way down to what's called the terminus. And something freaky has happened here. Anybody know what's happened? Anybody guess?
The rail got like uplifted or something?
That's right. There used to be way out here, let me get my mouse, way out here, a bridge over a canyon, and the bridge collapsed. And that's why this railroad track all of a sudden disappears into nothingness. Very good. All right, so who can tell me a little bit about the leading lines in this particular photo?
Driveway.
Yes. Is that Aiden?
Robbie.
Oh, Robbie. Okay. Yes.
Couldn't the horizon of the mountains be one?
Yes, you are absolutely correct. That's another leading line. Anything else? A couple others here. One is you've got a line which, if you fill in the gaps right along the tank of the motorcycle, which leads you out this way, and you've got leading lines of clouds that are leading you out this way. They aren't quite as prominent as the roadway or the sidewalk or the grass or the mountains, but everything's leading you out of the photo here. So your eye is taken on a journey, taking the journey from here at the motorcycle, and everything's pointing you out of the photo, giving some people the impression of a sense of freedom, that you just want to hop on that motorcycle and drive off into the sunset. Very cool. All right, we got leading lines here. Anybody know who this is?
No.
I guess it's for a little bit of an older audience. This is Clint Eastwood. He was in a bunch of Westerns when I was younger. And let's talk about a couple of leading lines here. Who can see a leading line or two?
The barrel, the gun.
Yes, absolutely. The barrel of the gun. Where's it leading you?
To the left?
Well, it's leading you right into his face, right here. That is the primary thing that it's leading you to. Good. We've got leading lines of the tree here, which is sort of bringing you down to the gun. The mountain here is leading you into Clint, but everything's leading you to Clint Eastwood's face. So while it's not exactly portrait photography, it has an element of portrait photography in that the primary focus here is the face. Very good. All right, any questions about leading lines? Awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about angle of view here for just a minute. Now, taking a look at this, one of the cool things about doing photography is that you don't have to take your camera and always shoot straight ahead. What can somebody tell me about this photo that's sort of unique? How about Seth?
Like the legs are a lot bigger than the actual body. in the picture.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And as a matter of fact, if you took a ruler and you measured the sneaker on this person, it would be bigger than the guy's head, wouldn't it?
Yeah, much bigger. You can just tell that by eyeballing it too.
Yeah,
Right.
taking from like a low angle to make him look taller.
Mhm.
That is absolutely correct.
I mean,
And
my foot's bigger than my head, so.
so the angle of view is very important. And when I go out and do photo shoots, especially if they are not of people it's sort of difficult to deal with, but especially for architecture, I will be kneeling on the sidewalk or I'll lie down with my back on the sidewalk to get very unique angles. And it makes a lot of difference as to how interesting the photo is, because most people don't get down that low or lie on their back and shoot straight up, and they don't get to see things as you're seeing them in a photo that has a different angle of view. And that makes photos interesting.
I kind of did that with the assigned photos that we had.
Good, I can't wait to see it.
Like I took I did a nature one, and I took shots. Like I put my phone like on the ground and like took pictures, like
Awesome.
at like an angle going out like from the ground.
Fantastic. All right, so let's take a look here at this railroad track. That's one particular angle. And this is another particular angle. Now, which photo's better?
The one on the right.
The one on the right, okay. Other
Yeah.
votes? Well, the neat thing about art is that it's interpretive.
Neither of them are better than the other. They're both different.
That is correct. At least in my point of view, that is correct. Whereas some of the people voted that they like the one on the right better. And to them,
Well,
that's better.
they like the one on the right because it's more appealing to the eye and there are more colors to see.
Mm-hmm.
But the one on the left is more of a creative aspect.
Right. Now, the angle of view as well as the composition of the photo can elicit different emotions. Like the one on the left might sort of bring up emotions of loneliness because it looks like a lonely railroad track and it's in black and white. And the one on the right might bring up an emotion of wistfulness or something of that nature because it's sort of going off into the distance and it's got color and it gets foggy out there. And it's all depends on really what your background is as to how you interpret a photo. Good answers. All right, any questions about angle of view before we move on to framing? Great. Okay, so framing has to do with trapping a viewer's attention on a subject. And it's a technique that's used to force your eye into a particular spot without doing it quite the same way as leading lines. And the frame of an image is determined by a lot of different factors. It could be the depth of field, it could be the space surrounding a subject, it can be the coloring, it can be the cropping, etc. So taking a look at this, what frames this photo?
Can I?
Yes, Dylan, go ahead.
The trees kind of frame it because they come around what looks like a church. It kind of comes around it and it sets your focus on the church because it's like in the middle of everything else.
That is absolutely correct. Good answer. The trees are framing the church. So we're going to take another look at another photo here. What do you think of that?
The hands frame it.
That's right, the hands frame it. Now, who can guess whether this photo's been manipulated or whether it's just a well-taken shot.
Yeah, very well taken.
I feel like it was manipulated.
Well, no. It's probably. It looks like it's a very small aperture because both things are in focus pretty well.
If it were an absolutely well-taken shot, you are absolutely correct. It would have to have a small aperture. Now, I did hear somebody say that they thought it was manipulated. Why do you think it
Yeah,
was manipulated?
I just feel like it would. I don't think it'd be impossible to get that shot, but I feel like it'd be very difficult to get it and like not have it be all blurry.
It is a difficult shot to get, especially from the camera angle. You'd have to be shooting right across somebody's shoulder or through their back, and you'd have to have a second photographer to do it because both this guy's hands are being shown, right? So I don't know whether it's real or whether it's not. It's
And
a good
you need a plan. So
and you need a plane. That's right. So I can't tell whether it's real or not. I have a suspicion that it was manipulated. Two different photographs that are brought together. Great. How about this one?
The rock arch.
That's absolutely correct. The rock arch frames two things. What are the two things? How about Owen?
The man and the white like star thing
Yes,
behind him.
exactly. That, I believe, is the Milky Way, though originally I thought it was smoke from a campfire. But I believe it's the Milky Way. Good answer.
Hi, Coach Scott here. If you like this show, be sure to smash that like button. You can do that now even while the show is playing. And to stay informed, smash the subscribe button too. We need to get 1,000 likes and subscribers, and we need 4,000 minutes of watch time to entice a sponsor. You have control over our destiny. Thanks, and now back to the show.
All right, so I'm going to do a quick session right here where I'm going to show you how to do some post-production with a package that's called Picasa. This package, I don't believe, is available anymore. I'm still using it because it happens to be on my computer, but I'm going to show you cropping, image brightness, contrast, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do red eye reduction on this one, but it's very easy to do. All right, so we're going to pop out here to Picasa. Can everybody see that?
yeah,
Picture of me.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Somebody's phone is ringing. All right, so this is not a great shot for a whole bunch of reasons. But
I think it looks pretty good.
first of all, I've got this lamp that looks like I'm wearing some kind of funny hat. So that's not good. And it's not very contrasty. It's very washed out. And it's not cropped very well, especially if I want it as a portrait. So what I'm going to do here is this. You remember how I was talking about fill light? Now I know I'm going to crop this. So I'm going to crop out this window. So I'm not worried about how bright that gets. But here's a slider that's going to have me slide out. And you should be able to see that it's getting more and more fill light. You see that? Good. So I'm going to put it to about there. And now I'm going to adjust my contrast, and I'm just going to use the auto contrast button right here. Bam. Looking much, much better. And then I'm going to crop. And I'll take this cropping tool, and I'll pop it to about here. And I'm going to drag this down. And I'm going to turn it into a portrait, and I'm going to try and take the lamp out as best I can. There. And now I'm going to apply that crop, and there. A much better photograph. Not a great one, but much better. So you can see, from an artistic point of view, you don't have to be a scientist in order to do photographs. But I'll tell you, the best way to get good photographs at the end is to start with good photographs. I used to say the best way to get a good photograph is to take a good negative, but people don't use negatives anymore. All right, so you can see how easy that is. I'm sure that more than half of you have already done that on your iPhone. So you've got a pretty good idea how to do that. Any question about post-production manipulation? Great. Okay, so we're going to go through some of your photographs now. Now, why don't we take Robert, since you did a test on this earlier, and I want you to choose 2 or 3 of your photos that you want to show us, and then we're going to look at them both from a science point of view and an art point of view. Now, before we do that, everybody should know that there are rules you have to follow. And the first rule is nobody gets to criticize, all right? You can make comments, but I don't want to hear anything like, that's a crummy shot, or I don't like that, or anything of that nature, all right? You can say, oh, look at those leading lines, and ask questions. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Robert. I saw one on screen there for a second.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about one of the subjects that we talked about today in this photo.
Lighting.
Okay.
It has more artificial light from ramp and while at the top it looks more bright.
Okay. I'm going to tell you also, you got some nice leading lines in this photo, because this photo is leading me down the stairs. It's also a nice angle of view, because normally you don't see photos of stairs going down like this, so that's pretty cool. Owen, did I hit you?
I shot this on my iPhone, and the background's blurred because the aperture was small. I mean, the aperture was smaller, so it blurred out the background a bit.
Okay.
And then it was taken using natural light because I didn't have any flashes or anything on it.
Great.
And then, I mean, it's kind of like not really, but the plant stems could sort of be leading lines, but they're not like, really leading anywhere.
Right.
And then the main subject is that one leaf right here on the right, because it's on one of the thirds and it's not blurry.
Great.
Not to correct you, but wouldn't the aperture be larger because the foreground is clear and the background is blurry?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That is absolutely correct. Now, what I was going to mention to you is it's fantastic that you know the science. With an iPhone, if you took this with your iPhone, there is no aperture. And,
Okay.
and the computer basically, or the processor that's inside your iPhone, treats the photograph as if there is an aperture. So awesome. It's a fantastic shot, a nice description. Give us a look at another one.
Here is the birdhouse I built in Cub Scouts.
Uh-huh.
And there was another one. Hang on.
Hold on, don't go past this one. I like this one.
I was gonna say because this was one of those where I changed the angle, so I have 2 different pictures of it.
Oh, good. Let's see that.
So here's the second angle.
Uh-huh.
So it's from the side, so you can see the side.
Right.
Wait, did you warp the picture, or is that just the way the birdhouse is?
No, the birdhouse was the curved birdhouse.
It's very cool. Now, which picture do you like better and why?
I sort of like this one better because it's kind of like to the thirds, and then, I mean, it's kind of like, the angle makes it look a little like nicer than if you're looking at it dead on, and like gives you a new perspective on it.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that photography is all based upon perception, and I happen to like your first one better, but I do that because it doesn't have a car in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
You want to show us any more, or is that good?
That's about it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great job.
I got mine on my computer now.
And
So
who
did
was
I.
that?
Matt.
Matt. Great. All right. Go ahead for it, Matt.
So I put it on a Google slide. I took a picture in black and white of a tree in my yard.
Yep.
And then also when it was like pouring rain earlier today, I took.
Oh, hold on. We want to talk about this picture first. All right. I love this picture. It's absolutely great. It's a nice close-up of the leaves, and the fact that you've taken all the color out, which is called chroma. Makes it really unique because you don't look at tree leaves in black and white through your eyeballs. So that's very cool. And I like the way the light playing off the leaves. And the leaves looks like they've been eaten a little bit. Maybe you've got some spotted lantern flies at home or something, but it's very interesting that they've been nibbled on. Nice photo.
And then I also have, when it was pouring rain, I kind of took a thing of like the water droplets on the window, and then the background's like blurred.
Uh-huh. Very nice. Now, the water droplets themselves are blurred as well. What does that mean?
Does that mean was the camera too close?
It's probably too close. If you took it with your phone, you're not going to have a focus ring, but you'll have to watch. Usually on a phone, there's a little square that you can, if you tap the screen, it'll say, okay, I want to focus on this, and then you can see whether it gets in focus or not in focus, but it knows that that's your subject, and it'll blur out the background or blur out the foreground. In this case, they're both blurry, which means that neither one falls within your focus or your depth of field. Good photo. Dylan, talk to me a little bit about that.
So that one, that was the one that I was talking about. I put my phone on the ground, kind of set it up so that it was shooting like out.
Right.
And I kind of tried to like do like a thing where I put like some of the flowers were up close, and then like you could kind of see like a bit of them going out.
Talk to me
and
about
that,
depth of field there. I saw you had some nice depth of field.
It's a very, yeah. So with it, the first image that is right there, the flower, it's right up in front. I was too close, and that didn't focus. I was kind of trying to go for that look with it. And then the grass is in the main focus range, that like grass coming up.
Right.
And then the rest of the flowers are a farther depth of field, and they kind of fade out.
That's absolutely correct. All right. Dylan, you're good. Who said they wanted to go next? Was it Ethan?
Yeah.
Great. And well, there we go. Oh, nice. That's a Nike flip-flop.
Yeah. So for this one,
yep,
I like took it in natural light outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed when I took the picture, it wasn't centered.
Right.
And that like it just looked different when it wasn't centered.
Uh-huh. That's what applies what principle we were talking about. What I call guidelines, what other people call the rule of
Thirds.
It's fallen right on one of those cross hashes of the tic-tac-toe, which gives it movement. It gives it interest. All right. Robbie, you going to show us the same way?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
So that's my first picture.
Okay.
And so you can't see it that well, but the background is out of focus.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that it like automatically widened the f-stop.
Now,
So,
I like that. That's called a still life.
Yeah. So I noticed that, and then I took another one outside.
Wait. Let's not go to the second one. Let's talk about your apple first.
Okay.
What's sort of cool about that?
It's like kind of the only thing in focus.
Okay. You've got a chair in the background, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you showed it up to the screen, it almost looked like the chair was a handle off of the apple, like a coffee cup. Now, maybe you can't see that as much when you've got it right in front of you, but through Zoom, that's what it looked like, which made it sort of unique.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at first.
Okay. Good. Let's see your second photo.
So my second one I took outside at the woods.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Now we got it in color. Nice. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about some of the artistic techniques we talked about today.
So like I held my phone like kind of rotated, like not square with the like I don't know, ground.
I know what you're saying. Yep. Your angle of view is slightly askew.
Yeah, so I did that, and then in photo production, I like I made the contrast brighter so the colors came out more.
Great. Awesome.
So the green came out more than the brown and stuff in the background.
Now there's a log in the center of the photograph that's lying on the ground.
Yeah.
And there's a path that maybe it's a half a path that looks like it's leading towards the log.
Yeah.
What would you call that? Leading
lines.
Leading lines. You got these two lines that are going up. The other thing that you happen is the log is in this sort of clearing, so it has something around it like this. What would you call that?
The what's it called? The frame.
Yes, framing. Awesome. Good job.
Hi, I'm Coach Scott, and if you've been a loyal viewer of the Global Troop Resource for the past few years, you've probably guessed that we broadcast from a home-based studio. That said, we're preparing for a future where we'd like to take our show on the road. Our plan is to start by visiting other troops on the East Coast and broadcast in person from scout camps and scout reservations. If you'd like to be on our show or to see our plans, visit globaltroopresource.com. That's globaltroopresource.com. Now, back to the show.
All right, so here are some good websites if you're interested in more information about photography. One's called Digital Camera World. Another one's called Phoblographer, which means photo, blog, and photographer sort of together. WikiHow is another good one, and Digital Photo Secrets. And if you want these, I can send these to you. So I'm going to need your worksheets in order to give you sign-offs on your blue cards. And then what will happen is I will check everything off, and then I will deliver both completed and partial blue cards, if we have any partials, to your advancement counselor. And I will get him the blue cards, and then he'll do everything for the next court of honor, etc. Well, let me tell you, you guys all did a fantastic job. I'm really proud of you. You seem to understand both the science and the art. I highly encourage you guys to go out and take more photos, as many as you can. It's super fun to go out and do photo shoots and then see how your photos come out, taking these different perspectives in of framing and natural lighting and leading lines and angle of view and all that kind of stuff. And you've done an awesome, awesome job here tonight. So that ends our session. And as long as you get me your worksheets and a couple people getting me their photos, looks like you've passed. So get me your stuff and we'll get the blue cards out. Everybody good?
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you. You
Thank you
too.
too.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
That ends this episode, so be sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons. See you next time. The Global Troop Resource, trying to put 1,000 skills into every troop's backpack.